Hello everybody, my name is Dr.Peerzada. Right now I am in Newcastle, Australia in John Hunter Children's Hospital. Today I have with me conjoined Professor Bruce King. He is the Professor of Pediatric Diabetes and Endocrinology, University of Newcastle, Australia, and lead discipline Department of Pediatric Endocrinology, John Hunter's Children's Hospital, Newcastle. Today he is going to talk about a program, a swim program, which he has implemented in his center from last many years, and which has a very good outcome in type 1 diabetes in terms of HbA1c. His average HbA1c in his clinic is 6.8%, which is very excellent. And this swim program I am planning to implement in Kashmir in our pediatric type 1 population. So Professor Bruce King is going to talk about one component of the swim program, which is the 10 essential habits which every type 1 person must know. So Professor Bruce King.
Thank you very much, Vais. So with diabetes, people with diabetes are normal people, but one thing that people think about when they think about diabetes is they think about blood sugar levels, and they forget all the other things that are involved with diabetes. An important thing to remember is that insulin does more than just look after your blood sugar levels. It looks after everything every cell in your body does. So if you've got a cell and it's doing something, it's being looked after by insulin. And for that reason, it's important to make your insulin levels normal. And so the 10 essential habits are designed to help people achieve normal insulin levels, normal blood sugar levels, but most importantly, helps make their lives as normal as possible. So at the end of the day, what we like to really hear is that people are having a good life, that they're enjoying themselves, they're doing all the things that they want to do, and they're feeling good about themselves. So if we start off with the 10 essential habits, the first thing is to always inject your insulin before you eat breakfast, lunch, afternoon tea, and dinner with your rapid acting insulin. Take your long acting insulin every day. The second thing is to rotate your injection sites, because if you don't rotate your injection sites, insulin does more than just look after your blood sugar, it makes cells grow. So if you inject in the same spot all the time, you will get a lump forming where the cells have grown and the insulin won't be absorbed properly. So we recommend using the rule of 2 fingers, and what that means is that in a week's time, you don't come within 2 finger breadths of another injection. So even for very little children, there's lots of places to inject, and you can always rotate your sites. So rotation of the sites is very important. Check your blood sugars 3 times a day if you're on the Life for a Child program. If you can do it more frequently than that, then yes, do it more frequently than that. But when you do your blood sugars, write them down in a book. That's really important, because if you don't write them down in a book, then you won't remember what the previous blood sugars were. And so 2 things will happen. First of all, it'll be harder for you to adjust your insulin. And the other thing, it'll make it harder for your doctor to know what's been happening and how they can help with your diabetes as well. So writing down is really important. With your blood sugars, you're aiming for normal blood sugars. That's blood sugars of 70 to 144 milligrams per deciliter at all times. Because you want yourself to be normal all the time, there's no time in the day when you want your blood sugars high. You want it in the normal range all the time. And if you do this, what we're hoping is that you'll have your HbA1c at 6.5 or less. 6.5, HbA1c of 6.5 is a really important number, because if your HbA1c is 6.5 or less, it means your risk of diabetes-related complications are the same as someone who doesn't have diabetes. The way you get to 6.5 or less is you have your blood sugar in that normal range, and the HbA1c will follow with that. The fourth thing is that blood sugars and insulin injections should be checked by another person, preferably an adult, every time that it's possible to do it. And the reason for this is that even though we know you try your hardest with your diabetes and to try and do a good job every time you do your diabetes cares, it's very easy to make a mistake. So if you got your injections and your blood sugar right 99.9% of the time, that means that once a year you make a mistake with your diabetes, which could be bad enough to end up in hospital. So having someone checking it with you, make sure that you don't make mistakes and make sure that your blood sugar control is good. The important thing to remember is your diabetes cares, that taking your blood sugar, writing it in the book, doing your insulin only takes 2 minutes. And so you only have to have someone checking you, helping you check 8 minutes a day, and that'll make a big difference to how things are and make sure that your day is always good. Families, then the fifth thing is that families should share the diabetes load. Diabetes is not easy, and it's often that people will feel a little bit down about their diabetes. So it's important that parents and friends, that you're able to talk to your family and friends about your diabetes and how you're feeling about your diabetes. Having these chances to talk about things means that it'll help you feel good about yourself, because the important thing about family and friends is they really don't care if you've got diabetes. What they care about is that you're a nice person and that things are going well for you. The sixth thing is always eat nutritious meals at breakfast, lunch, afternoon tea and dinner. As much as possible, avoid having snacks in between those times, and definitely do not eat after dinner. The reason for that is that if you eat between meals, it'll send your blood sugar high, and you'll have periods where your blood sugar, and particularly if you eat in the evenings, then you're likely to go high and stay high all night. The other thing is that eating in those patterns are normal ways that people eat. And so what you're doing is you're eating in a normal pattern, and because that's a normal way people eat, our bodies are designed to cope with that, and what it means is that you can easily control your blood sugar. The seventh point, of course, is to exercise regularly. So you should try to either do 10,000 steps or 45 minutes of moderate intensity exercise a day. Exercise is really good for anyone. This has got nothing to do with diabetes. Doing regular exercise improves your heart health, improves your physical health. For people who don't have diabetes, it helps them prevent type 2 diabetes because the insulin works better. For people who do have diabetes, it means if you exercise regularly, it's easier to keep your blood sugar into a normal range. It has good effects on your cholesterol, and it has good effects on your bones. So it's really important for overall good health. So it's not something that just the person with diabetes in the family should be doing, it's something that the whole family should be doing. So doing exercise together is a really good thing. Treat hypoglycemia early. So if your blood sugar is less than 69 milligrams per decilitre, or you feel low, then treat your hypoglycemia with one short-acting carbohydrate. So what we mean by that is juice, or your doctor can talk about alternatives. So for little children, we recommend 7 grams of carbohydrate, and for bigger kids and adults, we recommend 15 grams of carbohydrate, or one exchange, half an exchange or one exchange. If you get there and you treat a hypo and then you go high after it, then that means you've had too much glucose for that hypoglycemia, and so the next time you had a hypoglycemia, you decrease the amount of carbohydrate you had. want to do is just bring your carbohydrate, your blood sugar back into that normal range, 70 to 144 milligrams per deciliter. Once you've had your hypo treatment, wait 15 minutes before you to see what happens. The reason for that is that when you take food, it takes 15 minutes to absorb the glucose, and so if you react before that, it'll mean your blood sugar goes high. So if you wait 15 minutes, if you've still got symptoms of hypoglycemia or your blood sugar is still low, then you treat again with the same treatment. So half an exchange for little children, one exchange for adolescents and adults. Sorry. If you're the ninth thing is if you're sick, it's really important to continue to take your insulin at breakfast, lunch, afternoon tea, and dinner. Taking your insulin regularly keeps ketones away and ensures that you're as well as you can while you're ill. Always take your long-acting insulin. Check your blood sugars at times when you're not having, because you've only got 3 finger pricks to do, check your blood sugars at times when you're not doing insulin. So you check it at breakfast, because if your blood sugar was high, that allows you to correct it back down. Check it at bedtime, but again, because if your blood sugar is high, that allows you to do a correction. And check it overnight, so if it's high, you can give extra insulin to bring yourself back down again. But that will keep the ketones away, prevent diabetic ketoacidosis, and keep you as well as you can be, given that you're sick. If you've got a sickness where you're vomiting, then continue to give your long-acting insulin. Give the rapid-acting insulin based on the 0 column on your insulin card. So what that means, so if you're not using cards, then you'd give half the normal dose for breakfast, half the normal dose for lunch, half the normal dose for afternoon tea, and half the normal dose for dinner. But if you're on the cards, then if you're eating, then there's a chance you may be sick after it. So what you do is you follow your blood sugar levels and you give insulin according to what your blood sugar level is. And you check every 2 hours until you find that you're able to eat again. And once you're able to eat again, what will happen is you can just start giving your insulin as normal again and stop testing regularly. Now the last thing is it's your diabetes team, your diabetes doctor and other members of the team are really important in your diabetes management. They help you to, in a number of ways. First of all, they can come up with ideas to make your diabetes management easier. They can help you when you're having problems with your diabetes treatment, and they can also do tests that just check and make sure everything is going as you want it to. So the 10 essential habits help you achieve your goals, and those goals, just to remind ourselves, that they have normal blood sugars and have a normal life, because when your blood sugars are normal, your insulin levels are normal, means everything's completely normal, and you don't have to worry about things like diabetes related complications. So thank you very much for listening to me today. I wish you all the best and hope things go well for you. Thanks for inviting me today.
So thank you, Professor Bruce King, for sharing us the 10 essential habits. I would request my audience that they should share this video with people affected with type 1 diabetes, with their families. And these essential habits are not just to bring your HbA1c down, but this also helps to improve your life. So before I conclude, I would like to ask Professor Bruce King that the 3 essential rules that he talks to every patient always, what are those 3 essential rules? The 3 essential rules which are like told to every child here. So what are those?
So the 3 rules are: before you eat, you give your insulin. So that's rule number 1. Rule number 2 is give your insulin before you eat. And rule number 3 is always do rule 1 and 2. So giving your insulin before you eat is really important, because that means that your insulin works the way that it was meant to work in your body.
Thank you so much, Professor Bruce King.
Lovely to be here. Good luck, everyone.